Okay, so let's explore the first of our rule types, which is parse. Parse has this very specific use case, which is the conversion of unstructured logs to JSON. Okay, that's it. People use this for different reasons, but that is the express reason. If you have any other intentions, it should be covered by one of the other rule types. Parse is purely to do with taking unstructured information and turning it into JSON. So, easy way to get started, just click on parse there. It will automatically create a rule group with a nice parsing rule already set up here for parse. Now, you can set up a rule matcher to make sure you match the specific applications. I won't do that. Like, it's really straightforward. You can just pick any application you want. It can be front end or back end or whatever. It's not really important. And you can click select subsystems, select severity, and so on. Again, really kind of your business, and it depends on how your applications are set up, but you can just go with that. Now for rules, for the actual parse rule, we're going to start with a really simple example. So here is my sample log, okay? User Chris bought product, okay? So this is unstructured because it's just a sentence in English. And what I want to do is be able to query on which products, I want to be able to count them, I want to know which users and so on. So what I can do is I'll give it a sensible name, extract user and product. Remember, this is the first rule in a sequence of rules in the rule group. So it's important to give specific reasons why this rule exists. Same thing with the description. You can put anything you want in there. You'll notice this text field here. If the log comes in like this, in this form, this is text. The whole log is text, if you like. So yes, that's just what that means. Text means just the actual log itself. And then we have a regular expression that we need to implement. So the way to do that is quite straightforward. We'll begin with a capture anything, because as you can imagine, we have this word user we want to get rid of. We could do that if we want, or we could just use the word user. I'll just use capture anything, but it keeps things simple. Then what we want to do is this. So what we're doing is we're declaring a capture group now. So this is just like the capture group we did before. Notice this P syntax. There's some slight differences in regex syntaxes across the industry, just to be aware of that. I'm going to call this one user, yeah? And I'll select that. I will close the brackets and I'll do this. And we immediately get user product. The reason for that is because I've done anything, and this is the last match here. That's fine. So then we do it again. We add another wildcard, and we can just take that pattern again and put it in here, and we'll call this one product. And what should happen, product, user Chris. So you can see the name here, user. Notice how I don't need to set the variable value. I set the name, it matches to Chris, and automatically user Chris. I set the name here, product, automatically matches to this, and it becomes the product. So this is the basic use case for parsing rules. And essentially, you have this unstructured log coming in. You want to pull the values out that you're most interested in. Now, you can also get more specific with it. For example, if you want to make sure, if your log is more complicated, you could do something like this, like that. That will guarantee that the structure will match. However, any changes in the intermediary words, for example, if the log changes to this instead, then you're going to run into some problems because your regex doesn't match anymore. So if you're confident that the log isn't going to change at all, do this. The wildcard matching is just a nice way if you're confident of which variables are going to be where, but there might be some variation there. It's up to you to decide what's best for your logs. Once again, book a demo session if you want to understand. Now let's see a more complex example of this. This is actually parsing AWS ELB logs. So you can see that the input here looks a bit like this. And we can see there's a lot going on here. So there's a date, an environment, an IP address, ports, status code, package sizes, URLs, and so on. And all of that gets parsed out using this much longer regex query. So this is just a really nice example of how to use parse to actually turn unstructured data like this into structured data like this. It's really great, straightforward. So that's parse. We're going to explore all of the other different options now that are available. So let's get into the next one, which will be extract.